A long time ago, in a galaxy very, very divided, a great republic found itself torn apart. Not by blasters or starships, but by something far more insidious. A civil war of ideas. This was the MAGA Republic, a grand experiment in freedom, now teetering on the brink of collapse. The conflict was everywhere, on every news holocron, in every cantina conversation. Trust had become the most valuable and scarcest resource in the galaxy. People looked at their leaders, at their neighbors, and saw not allies but potential enemies. The very fabric of their society felt like it was unraveling, thread by painful thread, as whispers of corruption grew into a deafening roar that echoed from the core worlds to the outer rim. The source of this galactic turmoil was a dark secret, a ghost from the past named Emperor Epstein. Before his mysterious demise, Epstein had woven a web of deceit that ensnared powerful figures from every corner of the political spectrum. He kept records. Oh, did he keep records? His secret files stored on a hidden data log were the ultimate weapon. They held the names, the dates, and the sordid details of crimes and compromises that could shatter the careers of heroes and villains alike. The files were a ticking time bomb, threatening to expose a level of rot that ran so deep it could bring the entire galactic government crashing down in a heap of shame and betrayal. Standing at the epicenter of this crisis was a young, reluctant hero, LUKE TRUMPWALKER. He was a man of the people, a figure who had risen from obscurity with a promise to drain the galactic swamp. Now, he held the key to the Epstein data log. The weight of the galaxy rested squarely on his shoulders. His choice was a heavy one, a burden that would define his legacy and the future of the Republic. Should he unleash the files? Should he expose everyone regardless of their political allegiance and let the chips fall where they may? Or should he keep them hidden, fearing that the resulting chaos would be the final blow that shattered their already fragile union beyond any hope of repair? The internal battle raged within him. Releasing the files could restore balance to the force of politics, a great cleansing fire that would burn away the corruption and allow for a new beginning. But it was a monumental risk. The fallout could be catastrophic, destroying not just the guilty, but also the institutions they had infested. Yet, doing nothing felt like a surrender. It would mean allowing the darkness to fester, letting the powerful continue to operate in the shadows, their secrets safe. It was a decision that would test his courage, his wisdom, and his very soul. The galaxy watched, holding its breath, waiting for LUKE TRUMPWALKER to choose a path. While TRUMPWALKER wrestled with his conscience, a desperate mission was already underway. The brave Princess Pam Bondi, a fierce prosecutor from the Florida system, was racing against time. She carried with her a different kind of weapon, her own damning grand jury testimony. This testimony was a vital piece of the puzzle, a first-hand account that could corroborate the darkest secrets within Epstein's files. Her small consular ship, the Sunshine Speeder, darted through hyperspace, its mission critical. She had to reach the Senate Judiciary Committee on Coruscant before her enemies could intercept her and silence the truth she carried forever. Every parsec she traveled brought her closer to justice, but also deeper into danger. Hot on her trail was the menacing figure of Darth Schiff and his Democrat empire. They were not interested in justice. They sought only power. Schiff, a master of political manipulation, saw the Epstein scandal not as a tragedy, but as a golden opportunity. He wanted to control the narrative, to twist the contents of the files to serve his own agenda. His plan was simple and ruthless: seize the files, leak select portions that damaged only his political opponents in the MAGA Republic, and bury the rest. He would use the chaos to consolidate his own power, creating an empire built on half-truths and carefully constructed lies, ensuring his own allies remained untouched by the scandal. Elsewhere, in the shadowy corners of the Outer Rim, a roguish truth-teller and his smooth-talking companion made a shocking discovery. The legendary BONGINO, a former secret agent turned independent broadcaster, and his friend, the cunning LANDO PATEL, had managed to acquire a copy of the Epstein files through their own network of spies and informants. They thought they had the raw, unvarnished truth. But as they decrypted the data on their trusty freighter, the Truth Seeker, they found something disturbing. The digital signatures were off. The timestamps were altered. It was a forgery, a clever and dangerous one. Their hearts sank. The files they held were not the original records. They had been changed, manipulated by a shadowy force even more powerful than Darth Schiff. This was the work of the Deep State Empire, a clandestine network of unelected bureaucrats and intelligence operatives who pulled the strings from behind the curtain. They had twisted the data to protect their own and to frame their enemies. Bongino and Patel realized the terrible truth. The deep state wasn't just trying to hide the scandal, they were trying to weaponize it, turning the truth itself into a lie to control the entire galaxy. The revelation that the files had been compromised sent shockwaves through the rebel alliance, the loose coalition of patriots fighting for the soul of the Republic. The news reached the wise and battle-hardened General JON'ES KENOBI, a veteran of countless information wars. Known for his calm demeanor and strategic brilliance, JON'ES knew that panic was the enemy. He understood that the deep state's greatest weapon was not a planet-destroying super laser, but the ability to sow confusion and doubt. If the people couldn't trust the information they were given, the fight for freedom was already lost. He knew they needed a new plan, and they needed it fast. At his side was the resourceful intelligence officer, FRANCHI. A man who had dedicated his life to uncovering hidden truths. FRANCHI was an expert in covert operations and secure communications. Together, JON'ES and FRANCHI devised a daring counteroffensive. Their mission was no longer just about releasing the files, it was about releasing the real files. They had to find the original, untampered data log that Epstein had hidden away. It was a race against the deep state and Darth Schiff's forces. They would have to use every bit of their skill and courage to locate the source and prepare it for a galaxy-wide broadcast that couldn't be stopped. The plan was fraught with peril. It required them to venture into the darkest corners of the galaxy's digital underworld, navigating firewalls and counterintelligence programs designed by the deep state's most brilliant minds. They had to move in secret, trusting only a small, dedicated team of rebels. A single misstep, a single leaked communication, could alert their enemies and lead to their capture or death. The fate of the Republic depended on their success. This was their most important mission, a desperate gamble to bypass the censors and deliver the unvarnished truth directly to the people, no matter the cost to themselves. Meanwhile, a growing restlessness was spreading through the ranks of the rebel alliance itself. The whispers and rumors had reached a fever pitch. The people were tired of being manipulated, tired of the endless political games. A significant majority, over 60% of the alliance's supporters, were demanding answers. They didn't care about the political fallout or which party it hurt the most. They wanted the complete, unredacted truth about Emperor Epstein and his powerful associates. Their patience was wearing thin. They were ready for the light of transparency to finally shine into the darkest corners of the galaxy. The moment of truth had arrived. The forces of light and darkness converged as General JON'ES and CASSIAN FRANCHI, against all odds, succeeded. They located the original, unaltered Epstein data log, secured it, and prepared for the broadcast. At the same time, Princess Pam Bondi's ship evaded Darth Schiff's fleet and arrived safely in the capital system. Her testimony was ready. LUKE TRUMPWALKER, seeing the courage of his allies and hearing the demands of the people, finally made his decision. He would not let fear guide him. He would not allow corruption to win. He gave the final command: release it all, let the galaxy see. With a single keystroke, it was done. The authentic Epstein files, cross-referenced with Princess Bondi's testimony, were transmitted across the galactic holonet. The broadcast bypassed the deep state censors and overwhelmed Darth Schiff's propaganda machine. It was an unstoppable flood of information, flowing into every home, every starship, and every datapad in the Republic. The names were revealed, the crimes were exposed. For the first time, the citizens of the galaxy saw the full extent of the rot that had festered at the heart of their government for so long. There was no hiding, no spinning, no place for the guilty to run. The release of the files did not bring about the immediate collapse that some had feared. Instead, it sparked something far more powerful, a collective awakening. The shock and disgust were palpable, but they quickly gave way to a steely resolve. The people, armed with the truth, were no longer divided by the petty politics of the MAGA Republic versus the Democrat Empire. They were united against a common enemy, the corrupt elite from all sides who had betrayed their trust. A new alliance was forged in that moment, an alliance of citizens demanding accountability and justice for all. A new hope dawned across the galaxy. The path ahead would be long and difficult, the trials would be contentious, and the process of rebuilding trust would take generations. But the spell of darkness had been broken. The truth, in all its messy and painful glory, was finally out. The Epstein Wars had reached their turning point, and for the first time in a very long time, the people of the Republic felt a sense of empowerment. They had the truth, and with it, they had the power to reclaim their galaxy and build a future founded not on secrets and lies but on transparency and justice for all.